Hello, welcome to this video for students taking design and measurement, specifically in Applied Math 30S and 40S. We're going to be looking at converting square and cubic units. We know that we use square units when we're talking about area, and we know that we use cubic units when we're talking about volume. But the problem is if you try to convert an area measurement from one unit to another, it's not as simple as converting a linear measurement from one unit to another. For example, we know there's 3 feet in a yard, but if you're trying to convert a cubic yard to feet, there's actually 9 square feet in 1 square yard. The problem is worse when you're talking about volume because you're talking a 3D measurement. So when you're talking about a cubic yard, there's actually 27 cubic feet. There's the 9 square feet, I guess, multiplied through the depth. You got 3 rows that way, you get 27 cubic feet. So what we're going to try to show in this video is how you can do this without having to always sort of draw a picture and figure it out on your own. We're going to start with just converting linear measurements. Everything I do in this video depends on the fact that you know the main unit conversions. You know there's 100 centimeters in a meter. You know there's 3 feet in a yard, and we'll get to some other ones as we go. So if I want to convert 3 meters to centimeters, I know that in 1 meter there is 100 centimeters. So if I'm converting meters to centimeters, all I need to do is multiply by 100. So converting 3 meters to centimeters is 3 meters times 100. 3 meters would be 300 centimeters. Anytime you're converting from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you're going to multiply by the conversion factor because there's going to be more of the smaller unit, a larger number than there was in the bigger unit. If you're going backwards, so I want to multiply if I'm going that way. If you're going backwards, if I want to convert 145 centimeters to meters, then I want to divide by the conversion factor, which is 100. So to convert 145 centimeters to meters, it's 145 divided by 100, which is 1.45 meters. 145 centimeters is 1.45 meters. Okay, and then just to get some imperial measurement in here, converting feet to yards, I know that 1 yard is 3 feet. You can see when I'm writing my conversion factors, I'm starting with the 1 on this side so that my little arrows hold true here. So if I want to convert feet to yards, I'm going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, so I know I want to divide. So I would take 26.5 feet and I would divide by the conversion factor of 3. And 26.5 divided by 3 is 8.83 yards. So that is converting linear measurements, just converting a normal straight line measurement back and forth using our normal conversion factors. The focus of this video, though, is when we start converting area and volume. We'll get to that in a second. So if I'm converting square units, which you're going to have when you're talking about the concept of area, we have a bit of a problem. If I want to convert a square meter to a square centimeter, well, 1 square meter, and I'm not going to draw all the little boxes in here, but 1 square meter, if I have a box that's 1 meter on each side, I know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So if I'm talking a square meter, I'm talking a square that is 100 centimeters on each side. The area of this square is actually 10,000 square centimeters, 100 times 100. You could draw them all in if you wanted to see them. So I've got a different conversion factor if I'm talking about square units. But there is a way that we can, I'm just going to erase this out of here. There is a way that we can use our normal conversion factor to do this. I know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. If I want to convert square meters to square centimeters, just square both of those numbers. 1 squared is 1, so 1 meter squared is equal to 100 squared, which you can do that on your calculator. 100 squared is 10,000 centimeters squared. So I'm not going to use the original conversion factor. I'm going to use my conversion factor for square units. Once I have that, it works much the same way. Let me get my mess out of here. If I'm going to head this way, I'm going to multiply by the conversion factor of 10,000. And if I'm going to head this way, I'm going to divide by the conversion factor of 10,000. So convert 1 square meter to square centimeters. Okay, well, we already did that in the picture, but let's do it this way. 1 square meter going into square centimeters would be times 10,000. So 1 square meter is 10,000 square centimeters. If I want to convert 300,000 square centimeters to square meters, I'm now going from the smaller unit to the bigger unit, so I want to divide by the conversion factor. So I would take the 300,000 square centimeters, and I would divide by the conversion factor of 10,000. And 300,000 divided by 10,000, doing that on your calculator, is 30. 300,000 square centimeters is the same as 30 square meters. Apologize for my exponent there with my little pen here. We'll do the same thing with feet and yards. This is very common especially in the Applied 4D exam, is working with feet and yards. I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to talk about, well, you know what, let's leave that there. And we will talk about, we know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. But if we're talking square feet and square yards, just square both sides of this conversion factor. 1 squared is still 1, so 1 square yard is equal to 9 square feet. So if I'm dealing with square units, again, I don't want to use my original conversion statement. I want to use the one for square units. So let's erase that one. And let's try these. Convert 36 square feet to square yards. Well, if I'm going from the smaller unit to the bigger unit, I want to divide. So I would take 36 square feet divided by the conversion factor of 9 in this case would leave me with 4. 36 square feet is 4 square yards. And then going the other way, if I have 5 square yards, so if I'm going from the bigger unit to the smaller unit, I want to multiply. So 5 square yards times the conversion factor of 9 would be 40 square feet. So that's area dealing in square meters. It's very similar if we're dealing with cubic units. Cubic units, of course, are related to the concept of volume. All volume measurements are measured in cubic units. We want to do pretty much the same thing here that we did before, but now we're talking cubics or cubes. So with these first two, we're converting yards to feet, cubic yards to cubic feet, or cubic feet to cubic yards. So again, I would start with my normal linear conversion factor here. 1 yard is 3 feet. But if I'm talking cubic units, I want to cube both sides of this statement. 1 cubed is still just 1, so 1 yard cubed is equal to 3 cubed is 27. So it's 1 cubic yard is equal to 27 cubic feet if we're talking about volume. Whoops, let's not erase all of that. No, we'll just leave it. So let's try this one. Convert 2 cubic yards to cubic feet. So if I'm working from the bigger unit to the smaller unit, I want to multiply. So 2 cubic yards times the conversion factor now of 27. 2 cubic yards would be 54 cubic feet, or feet cubed. 108 cubic feet to cubic yards, that's working back the other way. In that case, we're going to divide, right? So I'm going to take 108 cubic feet and I'm going to divide by the conversion factor of 27. So 108 cubic feet divided by 27 gives me 4 yards cubed. The same thing happens if we're talking meters to centimeters. We know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So I know if I cube both of those sides, we get 1 meter cubed is, and I'm going to cube 100. Doing 100 cubed on your calculator actually gives you 1,000,000 centimeters cubed. So if I want to convert 4 cubic meters to cubic centimeters, again, going from the big unit to the small unit, I want to multiply. So 4 cubic meters times 1,000,000 is 4,000,000 cubic centimeters. Going the other way, if I want to convert 2,500,000 cubic centimeters to cubic meters, I start with 2,500,000. If I'm going from cubic centimeters to cubic meters, from the smaller unit to the bigger unit, I want to divide. So I'm going to divide by my conversion factor of 1,000,000. And I end up with 2.5. So 2,500,000 cubic centimeters is 2.5 cubic meters. So I've got a little slide here, just kind of summing up what we talked about. Start with your normal conversion rate. We looked at centimeters to meters and feet to yards. There are other conversions you might have to do, maybe meters to kilometers or inches to feet, or 2 other common conversions you might need to know. Whatever it is, you start with that rate. Okay, I did this backwards from how it's typed in here, so I always start with my rate with the 1 whatever on the left hand side. You square or cube both sides of the rate as required, depending on what you're working on, and then multiply or divide by the new conversion factor. So you multiply if you're converting to smaller units, and you divide if converting to larger units. I hope this helps you with your conversions for design and measurement in applied math, and thanks for watching the video.